We are at the World Economic Forum outside the Microsoft Cafe in Davos, Switzerland. I'm thrilled to be here with Brad Smith, the Microsoft president. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So you just came from an AI panel, and I have a lot of questions about artificial intelligence. What do you think it will most change about our life and our economy, like in the next 20 years?
I think it'll change the way we go about our days. Think about how much of our days today involve interaction with our smartphone or a computer. 20 years from now, we'll be interacting with a variety of artificial intelligence-based devices in new ways. I think it's going to change our jobs. Some jobs are going to be brand new. Some older jobs will go away. I think everybody's job is going to be affected in some way.
And any industry in particular that you think it will affect the most? Or
Well,
is it too hard to tell?
I actually think that what we're seeing already is this so-called digital transformation changing every industry. A couple of years ago, Mark Andreessen made an interesting comment. He said that software was eating the world. Well, I actually think the world is eating software. And what that means is that every business, every company that makes something is now using software in new ways, in effect as an ingredient. So of course what it means is that all these new people are in demand. If they know software, that's going to continue to grow, perhaps at a geometric rate for some period of time.
And Elon Musk has said that AI could destroy humanity. Is there a reason to be scared of AI?
Well, I don't think we need to be scared to that degree. I think we serve ourselves well by being thoughtful. It doesn't hurt to listen to people who are expressing concerns because that tells us what problems we need to solve. And from our perspective, what we've said is we need strong and clear ethical principles to govern the development and use of AI. We've just released a book that identifies 6 principles, and what we're hoping to do is spark that conversation, which has already started around the world.
And can you tell me a little bit about that, the ethical, the concerns that you have, the things that we need to figure out?
Well, of these 6 principles, let me highlight a couple. One really relates to fairness. If we ask computers to make more decisions, there's a risk that they'll take the biases of the creators of these systems or the biases that crept into the data sets, and they'll replicate that.
And we see that already.
Exactly. You do a search on a search engine like Google or Bing, and you type in CEO, and you're probably going to see a lot of pictures of men. We're going to see that in the future if we're not careful. Frankly, it shows why it's an imperative, even more so today than in the past, to bring more diversity into the tech sector. It shows why we need to think about those issues. Another one of the principles, in my view, maybe the most fundamental, is what we call accountability. We can empower computers to make decisions, but we need to make sure that computers remain accountable to people, namely the people who are designing and managing those systems, and then those people need to be accountable to all of the other people, namely society, under principles that probably over time become rules and even laws that make sure that accountability is effective.
And we're in Davos. Trump is supposed to get here today, I think. Is there anything that you're hoping that he'll say tomorrow?
Well, I would hope that there might be an opportunity to take this concept of putting one's country first, which every country always has and always does, but connect that with a healthy dialogue with other countries around the world. Countries that pursue approaches that become too isolationist usually don't serve themselves or the world well over time. And so it's one thing to say we're going to put our own country's interests first, we're going to be tough negotiators, but we also need to stay connected. I do believe that this is a world that still wants and is well served by American leadership on important issues.
And you wrote a beautiful letter to all of the employees at Microsoft after the executive order on immigration, and there's still a lot of concern and things up in the air with DACA. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, we've been clear as a company on a broad range of immigration issues that these are important to our employees. We're going to stand behind and stand up for our employees, and we are passionate believers that this is good for the United States as well. This is not and should not become a zero-sum game. The people that come to work at companies like ours are creating jobs, they're bringing talent that serves the country well. Some of them are dreamers. Some of them, most of them, are here on lawful visas. There are people, say, from India who are waiting for a green card and are stuck in this huge backlog. And we need to be taking stronger steps as a country to address this full range of issues.
It seems like these days it's very hard for companies to stay out of politics. Is that something that that we should have separated, or is that something we can't do anymore?
Well, I think people clearly are looking for companies to speak out on important issues in a way that was not the case to this degree at least 5 or 10 years ago or more. Interestingly, the Edelman Trust Barometer this year basically said that the most trusted voice for employees is their employer. We definitely find this with our own employees. I think we need to be thoughtful. I think we need to pick our issues, and they need to be issues that are relevant to our business or our employees. We need to know what we're talking about before we start speaking. I think that's sort of common sense that serves us all well, but especially serves companies well. And I think we have to be very balanced in the sense that as we speak out on political issues, we need to recognize that not all of our employees will agree. That's fine. We need to make sure that there's room for them to feel comfortable in a workplace where they have a point of view that is different from their employer. That's another ingredient we always need to keep in mind.
Right, and last question, do you have advice for young people that might want to get involved in artificial intelligence in the future? And are the only jobs in artificial intelligence, do you have to be a computer scientist?
To me, what's exciting is that AI is the future, but it is a future that will call on a broad range of intellectual disciplines, much more than computers and devices have over the last 20 or 30 years. Just think about what we're talking about. With AI, we're talking about having computers that need to think more like human beings. Of course, we need computer scientists and data scientists to do that. But there's a huge role for people who come from the humanities, who come from the social sciences. I think that people from the humanities and social sciences are going to be filling more jobs at Microsoft and other tech companies in the years ahead. And we all need to listen to each other, learn from each other, work together. And I think that's good news. It's good news for all of us, including somebody like me who didn't major in computer science.